Minicoder. Congratulations on making it this far in the modules. This means that you've gone through 8 videos already, and this is the last one. And so this is where we're going to combine all of the skills that we've learned up to now, and we're going to make a calculator. So I just wanted to give you a quick run through again on what that calculator looks like. So let's say, welcome to my calculator. Let's say, what's the first number in your math problem? So we're going to pretend that this math problem that we have is going to be 7 times 7, which is 49, right? So we put in 7, and we want to multiply that. Then we're going to put in another 7, and it tells us our answer is 49. That's awesome. Let's do another one. Maybe we want to do a bigger number, like 123,678. And maybe we want to subtract that by 542. Looks like we get 123,136. So we are going to write code so that we can have our very own calculator that you can customize any way you want. So we're going to go ahead and open up PyCharm like we always do. And we're going to go ahead and create a new project. New project. Create the project. And let's call this calculator. You can call it whatever you want. Just make sure you keep track of it. I'm going to call mine calc. We'll wait for it to come up. There it is. And just like always, we're going to go in and create a new Python file. And let's name this main. Great. Let's add a configuration so that we can run it again. It'll be a Python configuration. Let's name it main and go and find that main file. Click on this little folder. It'll be in our calc folder, main. Open. Okay, great. Let's test it out, make sure we got everything figured out by doing our classic hello world. And there it is. Okay, everything looks like it should be working. So, like I said, we're going to combine everything we've learned thus far in this program. So we're going to use variables, we're going to use functions, we're going to use conditionalities, just like we've learned in the past 8 videos. So we want to start out, and the first thing that happens in this program is that we need to get a number, right? So let's write a function for that. We're going to call this function get number 1. So remember, this is a function. We put def and the name of the function, and then everything inside this will get executed every time we write get num1. So just so that it looks pretty, I'm going to print a blank line, and then we're going to have our first variable in here called number1. So this is going to be a number, so we're going to have it be an int, and we need the user to put in an input. Let's tell them what we need. What is the first number in your math problem? Okay, let's put a colon and a space so that it looks pretty on the screen. So this, every time we do gen number, we'll get a blank line and then a prompt to input a number. Then we'll print another blank line so that it's pretty. And then what we want this to do is we want it to return something. So after we have this number stored in this variable, we want it to return that number so that we get it out of the function. Great. So that our first function is written, and that looks great. Now we need to do the same thing. And actually, I'm going to show you a little shortcut. We're going to copy and paste this. So copy and paste, but this time we need it for the second number. So I'm going to change that to generate number 2. and then I need this to be number 2, and we need a number 2 there. Great. So now let's change this to the second number in your math problem. Perfect. So now we have both of the numbers in the problem, but we do need to know if we're going to add it, or we're going to subtract it, or multiply it, and so we need to write a method for that as well. So I'm going to call this method getMethod. Okay. And so we need to ask the user what it wants to do. So let's print that and let them know. Do you want to, let's put this on a separate line just so it looks nice. And we'll give them the options. Do you want to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Okay. We'll print another blank line so that they have some space to think. And then this is where we're going to ask for the method. So we'll put input. This is where the user will be able to input, and we'll say type your method. Great. Now I'm going to show you a little trick here. Since we're going to be testing what they put in, we want them to all be the same. So in this case, we're going to make them all lower, just like that. And that means that every time the user inputs something here, it will return all lowercase values. So even if someone says, you know, I want to add like that, the program will automatically return that so that we can compare them later. And you'll see why that's necessary. Great. So just like the other methods, we're going to return method out of that because that's what we're asking for. Great. So now we have pretty much the whole program written. We get a number, then we get whether we want to add, subtract, multiply, or divide it, and then we get the second number. Great. And I'm actually going to change these. I want to put get number, just so that it's a little easier to understand what's going on. So we have get number 1, then we get the method, and get number 2. Perfect. So let's do a main function now. This is where we're going to run our code. Okay, so this is what's going to happen most of the time in our program. We'll say print welcome to my calculator. Let's print a blank line there as well to make it pretty. And then we need to set our variables. So we're going to say number 1 is equal to, and then we're going to use this function, get number 1. Perfect. So now this is going to run through this code, and when it gets here, it's going to invoke this function. So we're going to say get welcome to my calculator, a blank line, and then it's going to see that this variable is related to this function. And so it will hop up here. And then it will say, what is the first number in your math problem? You'll execute this code, and then it will go back. So after we get the number, we need to get the method. So we'll name that method, and then say get method, and that will execute this piece of code that we've already written. Then we say get number 2. Or sorry, let's put number 2 here as our variable name, and then say get number 2. Great. So now we have all of the information in our main function that we'll be able to run. So now we need to tell our program what to do in each case. So let's write that. And this is going to be the output that we get. So we're going to say print your answer is, and then print a blank line, and this is where we get to use what we learned in our last few lessons about conditional statements or if statements. So we're going to say, because the only thing we really need to know is whether the user wants to add, subtract, divide, or multiply. So that's what we're going to test here. We're going to say if the method is equal to, let's start with add. Then what do we need to do? We're going to print out the value of number 1 plus number 2. Perfect. Easy enough. Then we'll do something called elif. Elif means that if this is not true, then it goes to this one, and it tests it. So we're going to say method again, and maybe this time it's going to be equal to subtract. And make sure you're putting in all of these little things, like the quotation marks and the colon. So what is this one going to do? We're going to print out a number again, but this time it's going to be number 1 minus number 2. Great. Let's do that again, but this time with multiply. We're going to print this number 1 times number 2. Perfect, and we are almost done. The last one is going to be an elif method is equal to divide. What do we want to do in this case? We want to print number 1 divided by number 2. Great. Okay, so now we have a program that's going to be able to run. Let's test it out. So right down here, we're going to run the main, which means since all of these things are in methods, we need to tell it to run something. And so since we have all of our code in our main method, we're going to tell it to run main. So when we click play, great, we have it down here. What is the first number in your math problem? Let's try 3. Let's multiply that by 3. What should we get? We should probably get 9, right? Let's test it. We got 9. So that's working. Let's run it again. Let's do 500 add 45. It should be 545. Perfect. Okay, it's working. Now, maybe we want to make our calculator a little smarter. And we can do that. Let's say that we get 43 add cat. Well, that's not going to work, is it? See how it crashed our program? Maybe we do something like this too. Let me say 12. And maybe we say something really smart, like to the power of. Well, our calculator doesn't know how to do that. And so if we wanted 12 to the power of 3, it wouldn't know what to say. So we can put something in so that our calculator is a little smarter. Let's make one more else in here. So if it goes through all of these tests and none of them are true, we're going to just have our calculator print this out. Print, I don't know how to, and we'll put in whatever they put in for method. And we'll put numbers here. Print, please try again. Okay, great. Let's run that again. Same thing. Let's do 3 to the power of 3. Well, our program doesn't know how to do that. It says, I don't know how to get to the power of numbers. Please try again. And we can do it again. So then maybe this time we say 4 multiply 100. 400. Awesome. So then it works. So, congratulations, because you've made your very first real program. You've made a calculator where you can add, subtract, multiply, or divide numbers. And with this, you're a coder. You're a programmer already. And with just a little bit more learning, you'll be able to make really cool things like video games, websites, anything that you can imagine. So keep practicing, keep coding, and you'll be able to do great things. The best part of completing this video is that you've unlocked a bonus video. And that bonus video is linked down below, and you'll be able to make drawings on your computer, like snowmen or smiley faces, or anything that you can come up with. You can be really creative with it. And so that's linked down below. So give that a look, and make sure you tell your friends about this if you had a good time using it, because we've had a good time making it for you, and we hope that it has helped. So have a good day, and we hope to speak with you again.